Would I be the a-hole by not telling a guy I've been dating for a month that I'm having artificial insemination to be a single mother? Prior to lockdown, I decided to be a single mother by choice. The journey to accepting this has taken 2 years and included counseling and a very thorough plan to ensure that I could do this alone. I was happy with my decision. And I was a good place in my life where I realized my desire to be a mother was stronger than looking for a partner, which may or may not happen. And with my fertility declining, I chose to go down this path as a solo mother. Right before I was due to have artificial insemination with donor sperm, the pandemic hit. The treatments were canceled. There was no timeline for when things may reopen. For a few days I was devastated as I was mentally prepared for this, and then I picked myself up and decided to park my plan. After all, I didn't have a choice. I downloaded a dating app out of curiosity and figured that I could still chat to guys and see what happened, without any expectation really. I've been talking with the guy, let's call him G, and it's only been a month, so very early stage. However, we've met up twice with a third meeting planned, spoken many times on the phone, and I get a real good feeling from him. For the first time in years, quite frankly, I feel emotionally connected with the man, and it feels completely natural and promising. During this time, my clinic called me to say that they have approval to open, and I do wish to go ahead this month with my treatment. I want to be a mother more than ever, so I said yes, and I'm now on medication with my appointment set for the next week. While there is no guarantee I'll get pregnant on the first go, I have a conflict in my mind about informing G of my plan. On the one hand, it's at such an early stage of our romance, without yet anything being committed, that I feel like I'm bringing something up prematurely. On the other hand, I wonder what may happen as time goes on. Am I just delaying the inevitable? Is it deceptive of me to not inform him of something so fundamental in my life? A friend told me that I'd sabotage a potential relationship with him by telling him of this plan right now. And that a man who is really into me will accept me even if I'm pregnant, and that more time is needed for him to really get to know me. But in my mind, I'm wondering if it will piss him off by suddenly saying, hey, I'm pregnant by the way. We've spoken loosely about wanting kids in the future, so I know he'd like a family, but it was a brief passing comment. I'm also not willing to wait to get into a long-term relationship, and we are far too early on to be thinking about a family together. Would I be the a-hole by keeping quiet about the plan for now? Top comment is, sorry, but yes, the a-hole. This is very important information that you should share so you can make a decision as to whether or not they want to build a relationship with you. Before it was just you. Now you were involving another person, who honestly you really don't need at all if your primary goal is just to have a child. You should let him know while it's still early in the process, and he's not that attached. Waiting would be trapping him. In response to this comment, I also just wanted to add this. OP's friend is giving terrible advice. If he's really into her, he'll accept her even if she's pregnant? Hard no. This guy has known her for a month. Her getting pregnant without explanation is going to be nothing but red flags, and I don't know many guys that would stick around for that. Update to the story. A month ago I asked if I would be the a-hole for not telling Guy I had only started dating and I had plans to become a single mother. I was scared I'd lose him, but I also thought I would be deceiving him by not telling him, thus making the investment in our relationship unfair. The comments were pretty much unanimous in that I am the a-hole, and I needed to tell him, and this validated my decision to go forth and be honest, as nervous as I was. I explained my situation about taking 2 years to come to this decision, how my fertility clinic had to shut down due to COVID, which is why I had gone back onto dating apps. I explained how my clinic had reopened after meeting him, and how important it was to me to continue my journey to become a mother. I knew this was baggage he hadn't expected, and that there was every chance he would step away from the situation. Well, he didn't. We're now in a committed relationship, and he's been supporting me in my journey. I've had 2 unsuccessful artificial inseminations with donor sperm, my original plan, and we've spoken about having a child together. As early on as it may seem, he told me my honesty made him consider his own future, and how he really wants a family someday, and how he has admiration for me being honest about my situation, and how he wants to help fulfill my desires to be a mother, whether with him or with donor sperm. Either way, he wants to be part of my life. I wanted to provide this update as a positive outcome has come out of being labeled an a-hole, and it has pushed me to do the right thing, which has in turn meant that I have the most understanding and accepting boyfriend. Had I kept this from him, it would have played on my conscience, as well as most likely have caused him to not trust me. So thank you. Edit. Gosh, I didn't think it would blow up this way. Thanks for the lovely words of support, and all those taking the time to provide food for thought of co-parenting and step-parenting. This is new territory for me, and I don't know anyone else in my day-to-day life who has been in this situation. It's so valuable for me to hear your views and gain new perspectives. Thank you, kind Reddit community. Top comment for the update. Someone who actually took their judgment and came out for the better. Congrats OP. NTA. AITA for giving my ex-wife a large amount of money I won despite the anger of my girlfriend. You would think people would vote the a-hole, but the verdict is not the a-hole. I recently won an FU amount of money. I won't say exactly how much it is, but it's in the millions. It makes me feel funny even typing. It's enough to change the life of myself and my family. My ex-wife is the mother of my 2 kids. She's an amazing woman and good to the bone. We divorced 6 years ago because I had an affair with my current partner. I was in a low place in my life and I effed up. She was in incredible pain, but like an effing saint, she allowed me to still see our kids, who mean the world to me, allowed our divorce to be as pain-free as possible despite the fact that I know she was hurting. She still is close with my parents. She is respectful to me, although she refuses to talk to my girlfriend. She was actually the first person I phoned after my mom and pops after I found out I won the lottery. She was pleased for me, joked that I could take the kids on a world-around trip, and that was that. Nothing else. As soon as I won, I knew I wanted to give her a significant amount. I still love her. She's the mother of my babies, and I feel like this is some small, tiny way I can show her that I'm not a complete F-up. She deserves to know that I care despite my mistakes. She also works a crappy job in the public library, which pays her peanuts. She would actually be able to pursue her hobbies this way, give our kids a better life between us. I haven't discussed this with my ex yet, but I have with my parents, who strongly agree, and my lawyer, who is very surprised but on board. Long story short, when I told my girlfriend, she was livid, screaming that I'm disrespecting her, accusing me of still being in love with my ex-wife. I'm not in love with her. We've both grown apart, but of course I still love her for being an excellent co-parenting partner and mother to my kids. My girlfriend is threatening to break up with me, and to be honest, I'm feeling incredibly relieved over the threats. I don't plan on changing my plans, but AITA. The verdict is not the a-hole. AITA for telling my girlfriend that being depressed is not an excuse for being lazy. The verdict is no a-holes here. I, 29, have always supported my girlfriend, 23. We have been together for 4 years now and lived together for 1. She has always had anxiety as well as depression where some months are worse than others. I've supported her through all of this and understand it is very hard for her. In January, she lost her job due to the current world circumstances. By March, she hit a low point, with not eating as much, crying, irritability, typical traits of depression. I have comforted her as much as possible and taken care of everything. However, at the beginning of June, I was allowed back to work, and since, the house has fallen to shambles. I'm too tired by the time I come home to do anything, even cook. Most nights we order takeout, and on the rare occasion she makes food. The floors aren't being washed. Hoovering isn't being done, laundry is a mountain, and the dishes are everywhere. I try to keep on top of it, but with work, it is almost impossible. She is home all day. She lies in bed till late afternoon, watches Netflix, eats bowls of cereal, and naps. That's about it. I've tried to gently coax her to do more, and she says she will get to it but never does. I finally snapped, told her I was sick of her doing nothing all day and leaving the housework to me. That if she is here and I am working, she needs to be pulling her weight. She got upset and said that she wants to, but can never find a motivation, that she is tired all the time. I said I understand that she's depressed, but it isn't an excuse to do nothing and be lazy. No one likes housework, but I won't take any more excuses about it. She needs to start doing it or leave. The next day I come home to a clean house and a note from her saying she was sorry and is going to stay with her mother. Her mom helped her clean before they left. I tried calling but she wouldn't pick up. When I rang the house, her mother answered and had a lot to say. She was furious, telling me how she was struggling and I am making her worse, that I should be supporting her and not ignoring that she's in a bad place, and so on. I was told that my girlfriend had been crying all day in her bedroom. I feel awful. I never wanted to hurt her. I just snapped. I tried to get her mother to give my girlfriend a phone, but she wouldn't speak to me. It feels like a lose-lose situation. On one hand, I know depression results in a lack of motivation and cleanliness, and on the other, I can't stand to see our home in such chaos. I've never had depression, so I can't say how bad it truly is. That's why I find it more difficult to 100% empathize. AITA for telling her depression isn't an excuse. Extra info. She has a therapist and talks regularly to them. Her depression is worse since losing her job. Usually she is quite clean and tidy. We don't usually have this issue. She's looking for a job despite depression, etc. I have enough money to support us both in the meantime. Talk comment is, nah, I feel both for you and her. It's not easy dealing with someone who has depression, just as it's not easy for that person to be dealing with depression. It's not fair to you to bear that emotionally, and it's not fair to her to have someone pushing her. I think you both need to reevaluate and probably take a break or just break up. She doesn't seem to be okay to be in a relationship right now with what she's dealing with. A response to this comment? To be honest, I'm surprised that he didn't pitch doing housework as a means to combat depression. Just doing a couple tasks a day can stave off feeling down. For example, clean the kitchen on Monday, get groceries on Tuesday, etc. That would have been an approach to a solution that would have met both sides' needs. Another response to this comment, yeah, my judgment is also, nah, for the same reasons. Just suck you all around. Update to the story. Ultimately, I realized that the majority of the blame was mine. I never ever should have called her lazy because that isn't what she is. I lashed out and I shouldn't have. She stayed at her mother's for a few days and we eventually met up to talk. I told her how it just got to be too much for me, but it was no excuse for lashing out and I apologized. She apologized also, not that she needed to. We talked a long while about how we can make our relationship work. I expressed my concerns over her therapist, who is very against anything other than talking therapy. She agreed that he didn't really seem to have her best interests at heart, and she is currently looking for someone new. For now, I suggested she stops looking for work. She got a lot of rejections, and I could see it was upsetting her more. I just felt we should take a step back from that, and I wanted her to focus a little bit more on herself. She was unsure, as she felt bad that I would be working for both of us, but I assured her it's fine. I make enough to support us both quite comfortably. I also suggested that she can maybe volunteer at some point, just to get her out and get some more stuff on her resume. I'm no therapist, so these were just suggestions, but it has seemed to take some pressure off of her, which is all I wanted. We agreed that being in the apartment all day alone and in bed is not good for her, so we came up with a plan that she could do an exercise video 3 times a week. It's only a 10-minute one, just so that she's doing something. She has found that she likes doing them. They make her feel a bit better after, and has started something called yin yoga now too. To help me, she has one chore a day to do. I don't care what it is. It could be dishes or it could just be putting the laundry in the hamper. This rule has at least gotten her out of bed for at least part of the day. And she's found that once she has started, she sometimes ends up doing more than one thing. I make sure to show my appreciation for whatever she has done, no matter how small it was. We have set out that every Sunday will be a deep cleaning day, where we get everything done for the week. This has been surprisingly successful. We make it fun and just mess around while still getting things done. It makes the week a lot more manageable when we only have light chores to keep on top of. She is trying more, and I am also working on being more supportive about her depression. I'm researching it more and learning ways I can help her because it is part of her. We are both putting more effort in and communicating a lot better. I hope we keep making progress because I do love her very much and want us to work. Comment to the update. It's so nice when these things have a happy ending. Good job on working on your issues and communicating properly. Heart. AITA for telling coworkers extremely bluntly why I'm not participating in the office weight loss bet. Someone got the brilliant idea to make an office diet bet due to the pandemic gains, with people pulling in their money to see who can lose the most weight by Thanksgiving. I am one of 7 people not participating. Lots of pregos, some bodybuilders, and people who maintain their weight who aren't interested. Since I've visibly gained, they thought I'd want to participate. I didn't. Jen, in charge of everything, kept dropping by to remind me to turn in my form and my money. I said no thanks. Jen wouldn't drop it. Other people got involved, asking me why not all the time. It'll be fun. Don't be scared. I'd feel better and look better. I told them no I wouldn't. And it's a great way to bond. We're all in this together. It's like Weight Watchers. I'm not interested. And then eventually, I said no, drop it. They decided I wanted them to convince me. 2 weeks into the bet, they tried to trick me on the scale to shock me. I contacted HR, people finally backed down. I'm eating my food one day, rice and beans. People sitting with me start dropping hints to how they feel so much better now that they aren't eating carby food all the time. I said, I'm glad you feel better. They took this as a sign that I knew I'd feel better again and started coming up saying I could join in. I finally effing snapped and said, you guys suck. I'm a recovering anorexic. I get one whiff of competition and start starving myself for days. And start puking up what I do eat until I'd have to get my 3rd oral surgery to remove rotting teeth. Does that sound worth it to you? Chorus of wow, and we're just joking. I said no, you weren't just joking. Congratulations, by the way. After you all wouldn't stop, I weighed myself for the first time in 7 years and didn't eat for 2 days. Does that all make you feel good? None of them would look me in the eye, so I just went home for the day. I got a call from the women in HR who were shockingly supportive of me. One of the bodybuilder guys stepped up and said he'd witnessed a lot of the harassment, and he doesn't blame me for my outbursts. A few others did too. However, they had to cancel the diet bet. I didn't ask them to, and people are blaming me, saying that I can't take a joke. It wasn't that deep, and the girls present said they no longer feel safe working with me because I obviously have mental issues. One of them made a big stink about politically correct BS and how I'm the typical hypersensitive millennial. I go back and forth on this all day, thinking I should have just swallowed my anger and gone back to the HR, or just stopped eating lunch in the office or whatever. I didn't mean to ruin anyone's fun, but I also feel justified in pushing back on their harassment. AITA. The verdict is not the a-hole. Top comment. NTA, 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 NTA. They took this public, not you. Your HR team handled this appropriately. I'm glad some of your coworkers are supporting you as well.
Please support me by liking and subscribing.